Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today. Chapter 505. Just a Little Feather. So in short, Lara is going to go to the Heavenly Sect, Elise said as she and Victor descended from the car in front of the biggest theme park in Vane City. White Park. Yeah, it belongs to his father. In the past, it was run by Nick, but nowadays, George was the one handling its affairs. Yeah, Victor sighed. Is it a bad thing? Elise, who adjusted her pink frilled t-shirt and denim shorts, asked. For her? No, not at all. It is the exact opposite. In fact, there she would level up quite well, and in case of emergency, they would be able to protect her more than my stupid father would ever do. She might encounter some difficulties, but it would help her grow up. He told the truth. He had been worried about Lara's future when she would have to be involved in the family drama. Going to the Heavenly Sect, although not the best solution, it was not bad at all. Then why do you sound disturbed? Elise raised one eyebrow. It is just, with Lara and her entourage gone, my business ventures keep shrinking. Victor sighed. First was the loss of Crimson Pearl's novels rights, and now the Lowly Band. In fact, many of the materials he got from the future were no longer usable due to Celestia's existence. Thankfully, Margaret's side gig factory is doing okay. That thing is not sustainable. Elise sighed. Sex is not going to go out of fashion anytime soon in the next millennium or two. He made a point. Elise rolled her eyes. I mean the business model. No one will go out of their way to look for brand name huge dildos once copycats start appearing. She blushed saying that. Good point, he sighed. Even the gag balls were beginning to be copied. Patents can't stop small manufacturers, and those things were not that complex to fabricate. Don't worry, with Zolan on board, things should be better though. She already presented many good ideas. Too bad she is already occupied with your Mana Circuits project. So I suggest that we create a public research facility to collect talents. You want me to leave it to Hannah? Victor asked. Yeah, it's about time for that girl to fall. She sighed. Hannah is not ready yet. Victor shook his head. That girl is only obsessed with alchemy. She was not suited for management. And after Alpha's fiasco, he decided to be more wary of those of the Von Richter family. Oh, how about we ask the family for a new butler then? This might work. I will think about it. Let's not talk about business today, he said as he grabbed Elise's hand, making her blush as they approached the crowded theme park front gate. I thought you would reserve the entire theme park just for the two of us. What's so good about an empty park? Elise said as she squeezed his hand harder. Is it really okay for you not to put on some disguise? She asked. He was only wearing a normal face mask that didn't really hide his identity from those who knew him. No one knows where Axel is, and I already told Lynn to make sure he travels covertly, so it should be fine, Victor said, looking at her. I want to be my true self for our first date. Elise blushed harder as she squeezed his hand again. Let's go, he said, dragging her to a side gate where, by just flashing the family token, he was allowed in ahead of all the people waiting in line. Some shot him angry glares, but that was all they could do with 6 bald, burly chicks following behind with a cold gangster vibe around them. So, where to go first? Victor asked as they walked inside. Let's try the Ferris wheel, Elise said in excitement. Due to her past, this was her first time going to a theme park, so she couldn't wait to try everything. Victor raised one eyebrow, knowing perfectly well what kind of romance fantasies this little girl was having. If she was not planning for something, she would have brought some of the little maids along after all. Let's go, he said with a sigh, wondering if he could go through the day without getting arrested. Don't worry, I already prepared a fake ID, she said as if reading his thoughts. Damn it, the dirty little girl had come prepared. Damn it. Letting her spend time with Margaret had really rotted her pure mind. Julian adjusted his purple suit. Then, after taking a deep breath, walked into the reception hall. I hope I am not late, he told his father, who was waiting for him inside. No, you are early, Aaron said as he eyed his son from head to toe, nodding to himself that his son was as handsome as he was when he was his age. Don't be nervous. This hearing is just a formality to announce your return to the family. No matter what position they give you, it will not be bad. You are my son after all, Aaron said, noticing his son's nervousness. It's not that. I am just worried about Lily. Julian scratched his ear. Oh, Aaron sighed. Her situation is truly a bit special, but it should be okay, he sighed. More importantly, are you really sure about that thing? You will not get another chance? Are you sure you want to marry the chick? I do. Without going that route, both my mother and my uncle might object, Julian said decisively. True, Aaron said. Alice von Weiss's background and character were a bit problematic, but he was not going to stand in his son's way. He himself did the same when he was young. The thing I am worried about is not telling mother beforehand. It's better this way, we just need to appease her after. Bam! So you are already here, someone said, making the startled Julian turn toward the door where his mother walked in, followed by a petite girl who had bluish-tinted hair that resembled that of his mother's. She was dressed in a blue Gothic dress and holding an umbrella, making her look like some character in a TV drama. Mother, you are here. This is, Julian asked despite fully knowing the answer. Oh right, this should be your first meeting, Catalia said. Julian, this is your younger sister Tulip. Tulip, this is Julian. You two should have met in better circumstances, but you know how things are around here, she said, glaring at her husband. Ah, yeah. Aaron coughed dryly. Hello Tulip. Nice to meet you. Julian stepped forward and bowed ceremoniously toward his little sister, making sure to inspect her from head to toe. She was cute. Hello? Tulip also lifted her dress and bowed a bit, feeling his eyes inspecting her. She couldn't help but roll her eyes in disgust. Men were really perverts. All of them, including that bastard Vic. Damn it, why does she keep thinking about him? Sis, are you okay? Julian asked, noticing a sudden frown on his sister's face. Ah, just remembered something unpleasant, Tulip said. Don't mind me, she said as she looked away. Julian didn't know what to say. So, I heard you grew up in mother's hometown. I have never been to the Sunken Empire. How is it there? Julian asked casually, starting up a conversation. Tulip sighed. Wet, I don't want to talk about it, she responded briefly before turning to her father. Father, where is Big Brother Perez? She asked. He is still in a closed training session. You know how that guy can be, especially with the tournament approaching. Aaron sighed. Wait, you met Perez? Julian asked Tulip. It happened 2 years ago. It was a coincidence. And he helped me in a dungeon. Tulip answered briefly. Nothing you should be concerned about, she couldn't help but add. Julian scratched his head. Was his little sister a little annoying? Oh, Tulip, did you think about the request you wanted to submit? Aaron, noticing the weird atmosphere, asked to change the subject. In the family, when a member finishes their test and re-enters the family, he has the right to request one thing. Whether the family council would agree to it or not was not guaranteed, but if it is reasonable, it would pass and no one can stop it. This was meant to solve any last attachment a member might have to his life during the test. Tulip, although she didn't have to pass through that trial, her entering the family granted her the same rights. Yes, I will reveal it to the council later, she said with clear murderous intent. Aaron looked at Catalia, but she just raised her shoulder as if telling him she also had no idea what was going on in her daughter's mind. That would be a lie, though. Ever since Tulip returned from that moon dungeon, she has been totally obsessed with that Vic guy. Catalia knew perfectly well what her daughter wanted. This way, please. Say hi to your parents before we proceed. Suddenly, the door opened again, and a black-haired girl in a white sundress walked in. Lily. HSSSSSSSSSS. Tulip couldn't help but gasp as this was their first time meeting Lily since she returned, having only heard about her from her mother before. To tell the truth, she was shocked. Lily's beauty was something that even her master, the Void Lord, couldn't rival. Catalia and Aaron, who had secretly watched his daughter when she was brought in, were more composed. The same could be said for Julian, who had long associated her angelic looks with her demonic character. Lily stepped forward before politely presenting herself by lifting her dress. Lily von Krohn. It's nice to meet you for the first time, father, mother, she said as she bowed slightly. Big brother Julian, nice to meet you again. And you must be... She frowned, looking at Tulip as she didn't recognize her. I am Tulip, your younger sister. Tulip bowed awkwardly as she inspected Lily from head to toe, the same way Julian had inspected her earlier. Holy shit, how can a girl be this beautiful? Although she never cared about outer beauty, she couldn't help feeling a little jealous and a bit inferior. Just a little bit. If she had to compare Lily's beauty to someone, it would be that Vic guy who... Damn it, why was she thinking about that piece of shit again? I know it feels a little awkward getting to meet us like this, Aaron said. knowing that his daughter's robotic behavior was due to the cleansing ritual that stripped away a lot of her old feelings. "In time, we shall get to know each other," he said. "I am looking forward to that," Lily replied. But still, her voice was a little cold. Catalia sighed, then stepped forward and hugged Lily, taking her by surprise. "Just remember, no matter what happens, I am your mother." Out of nowhere, Lily couldn't help but hug her mother back as 2 tears fell from her eyes. I... She began to mumble, truly not knowing how to react. Not only did she know her mother during her Timless Crow adventure, in the timeline before, the one she just remembered, her mother died protecting her from a demon's attack. "It's okay, child," Catalia sighed in relief as she brushed her daughter's black silky hair. Maybe Aaron was right after all. Time would heal their relationship. Tulip, who watched her mother and Lily hug, couldn't help but frown. Was this the same strict mother she was familiar with? Well, maybe this was for the better. Only Julian couldn't help but sigh, knowing many things about Lily. This must be her first time hugging her mother after 2 timelines. So he couldn't help but sympathize with her. Nearly forgetting the hellish training she made him go through. He would never truly forget that. Unauthorized use. This story is on Amazon without permission from the author. Report any sightings. I hate to break this family reunion, but we have a ceremony to proceed with, the elder who brought Lily a moment earlier said, breaking the atmosphere. Lady Tulip, young Master Julian and Lady Tulip, the 3 of you follow me to the lower hall. Lord Aaron, feel free to move to the observation deck, he said before turning and walking out. Lily, Julian, and then Tulip quickly followed after giving their worried parents one last nod. Moments later, only Aaron and Catalia were left in the hall. Did you investigate that? Catalia asked almost immediately. I found a record of the doomed demonic millipede's eggs in the family. There should have existed 3 pairs in the northern vault, but none remain, with no record of anyone taking them out. Aaron replied as the smile on his face disappeared. Eric, Catalia asked. It could have been anyone from the High Council, he sighed. Don't worry, I will get to the bottom of this. You'd better do that if you ever want us to share the same bed ever again. She spat before turning to walk toward the stairs heading to the observation floor. Eric could only sigh and quickly follow after her. I hope that satisfied you, my dear lady wife, Victor said as they stepped down from the Ferris wheel. Elise held her silence and just puffed her cheek as she walked ahead of him, not allowing him to see her blushing face. Her plan failed. Miserably. Victor could only shake his head, watching her. The filthy little girl seemed to have come prepared as she ordered the chicks to stop the machine halfway through, leaving both of them stuck up there for more than 30 minutes. She even released a potent aphrodisiac in that close compartment. Thankfully, Victor was proficient enough to protect his non-existent chastity. The girl planned to go all the way, but she didn't expect to lose her composure with just one kiss and go blank, proving her severe lack of experience. One can't learn everything through the internet after all. Yep. Nothing really happened with her. Only collapsing in his arms. Lost in his lips. Shall we go get some drinks? He asked as a gentleman, knowing full well that Elise might need to go to the restroom. Bastard! She spat as she stomped the floor angrily while walking. He slowly patted her hair. Some things need time. We have a lot of that. But you are going away again, she said, confessing her real feelings. Who knows how many new girls you would court. By then, I might just end up like any other chick, she said before pausing and looking at one of the chicks following them for protection. No offense intended. The bald chick quickly raised his hand, indicating that she shouldn't mind him and that he was not offended. Don't worry, you are my wife, something that only a few would get, he said, secretly sighing. She was absolutely correct. Instead of lamenting on things in the future, we must not forget to have fun here, he said. Let's go. We need to experience all the attractions around here before it gets dark. Ah, Elise sighed. Okay, she said. Present yourself, a white-bearded supreme elder said to Julian, who stood nervously in the middle of a large hall. The hall was composed of 3 levels shaped like a bowl. The highest floor was the observation deck, where many degenerates and family elders, including the patriarch Eric, were. Julian's parents, Aaron and Catalia, also stood to watch the session. The second floor was a huge arc-shaped table where 9 high elders sat. Their mission was to test and question the heir after his trial, then decide on a suitable position for him in the family. On the lower level, Julian stood in the center in front of a huge obsidian table that stretched more than 10 feet across the room. Lily and Tulip, who had their turns after him, sat near the door. My name is Julian von Krohn, the second son of Aaron von Krohn of the main branch, Julian replied. As he answered, the obsidian table gave a white light that vanished almost immediately, indicating that he was telling the truth. In this hall, no lies were allowed. Are you ready for this appraisal session? Another elder asked. Ready? Julian said, making the table flash white again. Although everyone here has been sworn to secrecy, if there is anyone, other than the Patriarch and the Supreme Elders, whom you don't want to know about your info, you may ask them to leave, the Supreme Elder asked. As much secret information would be revealed, some might want to hide it from their siblings or parents. No, it should be okay, Julian said, looking around. Other than those whom he couldn't kick out, only his parents and siblings were present. Then, please put your hand on the ancestral table, one of the elders said. Julian quickly compiled, placing his hand onto a slight indentation on the table where all his forefathers had placed their hands to be tested in the past. The table flashed, and a few lines of info appeared. Julian von Krohn, Authority 13, Class, Soul Paladin, SS, Bloodline, Soul-Eating Crow, SSS, Awakened, Fate Strength, SS, Scion Indicator, Natural, HSSSSSSSSSSS. All of the elders hissed at the same time. Even his parents did the same. When did you awaken as a player? One elder couldn't help but ask. About a month ago in the cave I mentioned in my report, Julian said. After returning to the family, he was made to write a report about what happened after Lily kidnapped him. It was in a pond of black blood. At that time, I don't know why Lily threw me in it, and I didn't know anything until I woke up with my bloodline awakened and I became a player, he said, making sure not to lie and shift everything to Lily as they planned. I just withheld the info about my awakening due to my right of secrecy about my player status, he added. Many things in that report were taught to him by Lily in the past few weeks. It contained no lies, but the way it was written could be understood in more than one way. We understand that, but still, you should have said that you have awakened this. Wait, your bloodline. The elders, who out of habit didn't care to look at his bloodline before gasping again as they eyed it. Soul-Eating Crow? Wasn't that the bloodline their main ancestor has? Everyone in the hall was totally shocked, including the stoic patriarch Eric and Aaron, Julian's father, who opened his mouth wide in total disbelief. The only ones who didn't overreact were Lily and Tulip, who were not really sure about this bloodline. What's wrong with it? Julian nodded his eyebrows and asked as if he had no idea. You have no idea about anything happening to your bloodline? No. Is it bad? One moment, the Supreme Elder said as he leaned to the side and began whispering with the other elder. Look, it must have been the blood pond. Yeah. Send someone to check it. Okay. The Supreme Elder nodded to the others, then turned back to Julian. You said that will just exploded when he tried to cut off your bindings, right? He asked as if realizing something, making the other elders quickly take a look at the report and flip to its later parts when Julian mentioned how his cousin will appeared out of nowhere and came to save him, but suddenly exploded and turned into a card. Yeah, I am still shocked about that. Do you know why? He asked. He was really in shock. He never expected his own cousin to try to kill him. We will speak about this later, the Supreme Elder, whose eyes grew sharp, said as he glared at Eric, who sat upstairs, completely hiding his murderous intent behind a nonchalant expression. The Supreme Elder was not stupid, and he knew about the Dark Crow dagger as Julian had already given it back to the family after telling them about Will's death. Knowing about Julian's superior bloodline, an investigation into that was no longer needed. It was clear to all the elders that Will must have tried to use the dagger against his cousin and ended up getting destroyed due to having a lower bloodline level. Still, it would be better not to say it out loud. Oh, Julian, acting as if he knew nothing, nodded. Did Lily also go into that pond? Another elder couldn't help but ask as he began flipping through another report, a very thick one that Lily submitted the previous day. It contained a full report of her life in the von Weiss family and a detailed account of the last few months. Yeah, Julian nodded. The elders looked at each other. All of them had the same thought. Lily was really the heaven chosen. Even with her fate locked, she managed to find a supreme treasure to awaken her bloodline. They couldn't wait until it was her turn. After that, how did you manage to escape her? Another elder asked, keeping the subject away from Will again. He was clearly on the patriarch's side. It is all in the report, Julian said, getting nervous as he had to make sure not to lie. She didn't seem to be planning to kill me, and I suspect that she might be even giving me a chance to escape on purpose, he added. The elders all glared at Lily, who didn't even blink as she glared coldly at them. According to her, she was just ordered to brainwash him. She never intended to kill him. The elder who was flipping through Lily's report finally whispered, finding that pond was an accident when she sought to find a place that Alice von Weiss would not be able to track her to. They all looked at Lily, planning to grill her about that later. Let's return to our current subject. What can your class do? The Supreme Elder, who kept glaring angrily at Eric, asked as he turned to Julian. You don't have to go through the details, but since it doesn't exist in our database, I want you to give us the gist of it. This might affect the family position we give you later. Do things with the soul. I can heal other souls, attack them, and even have immunity against most soul-based attacks. My skills also allow me to attack enemies who have a soul form, like ghosts and such. Julian quickly responded. Oh, the Supreme Elder nodded as he inspected Julian from head to toe. As one of the highest authorities in the family, he was one of the few who got to regularly read the reports about the heir's trials. In the past, he held little regard for Julian, who failed to be anything special. And since he didn't become a scion, his rank was suited to become a normal heir at best. But now, with his bloodline and this class, he was suited to become an elite heir. In the future, if you manage to get a high position in the family, what do you intend to do? The Supreme Elder asked. I want to work to protect and strengthen my family, Julian answered truthfully. I also want to make sure that no tragedy like what happened with my sister ever repeats, he added. Hearing him, his father squeezed his fist as he glared at the patriarch. Good, good. The Supreme Elder, who seemed to begin looking at Julian more favorably, said, We will consider all of this before giving you a good position. Now, for returning to the family, we can grant you one request. Is there anything you want? I wish for the family to formally engage me with Alice von Weiss. He answered directly, having already consulted his father about this. Catalia, who had no idea about this, gasped and then turned to her husband with questioning eyes. He gestured to her to stay calm for now. Oh! The Supreme Elder raised an eyebrow as he flipped to a certain page in Julian's report. I think this would be doable, but we can only send a formal request. We can't control von Weiss's family response. Are you sure you want to waste your chance for this? Yes, Julian quickly responded. You young people. The Supreme Elder sighed. Then Supreme Elder. We can't. One of the elders wanted to object. Why not? The girl's status is more than enough. And after what Julian went through, it should be fine. But what about the girl's allegiance? Things like this never stopped you from marrying into the von Astrom family, unless you discuss family secrets with your wife. The elder held his tongue. At least let us vote. Fine. Who is allowing this request? Raise your hands. 6 raised their hands, including the Supreme Elder. The other 3 just clicked their tongues. The matter was settled. Julian, you can step down. Come to my office in the evening to get your assignment. I understand. Julian nodded, having a hard time hiding his smile as he stepped down, ignoring his uncle's dangerous glares from above. You better explain everything to me. Catalia, who watched her son's reaction, turned to her husband and hissed. She was not going to let her son marry any random girl. Aaron sighed. Don't worry, the girl is fine. I will send you her file later. Now let's remain calm. It is already Tulip's turn, he quickly said. Although he was worried about how his wife would react later after reading Alice's file, he had already promised Julian, and as his father, he had to help him. Kaiwa. New. Ghosts. Nutcracker. Oh. In the theme park, a strange accident was happening as everyone, including the employees, ran away from the Haunted Mansion attraction. The last to walk out was a young man who held a girl in his arms. That was fun. Elise giggled as she watched the chaos outside. Now no one will dare to work here, she added as she dragged him out. It's the employee's fault for trying to take advantage of you, Victor said with a smirk. You could have just scared him alone, she pouted. I couldn't help it, he told the truth. I also wanted to show you the people's reaction when demons first appear. Those things are what real demons look like? She asked with a frown. To tell the truth, if it were not for Victor holding her hand as he cast his illusion, she would have been really terrified. Yeah, Victor nodded. The monsters you face in the dungeons can't even compare, he said. Scared. Not as long as you are with me. Victor raised one eyebrow. Since when did this girl learn to talk like this? I want you to be strong enough to fight them yourself in the future. I know, she sighed. Aha. Now let's go try. Elise paused as she noticed Victor was looking somewhere absent-mindedly. She turned and looked in that direction. A purple-haired young man who had 5 young girls behind him was arguing with a mean-looking, fat guy who had a slutty woman clinging to him. Isn't that your half-brother? His name was Roy, Elise asked. They already have all the information about Theodore's sons that he collected, so Elise could easily recognize this guy from one of the photos. Ah, yeah. I didn't expect to see him here, Victor quickly replied. Him? Is that what you care about? Then why are you eyeing that little girl? Elise, who was skilled enough to see where he was looking, asked. As far as I remember, Roy has 5 stepsisters from his mother. Those 5 should be them, she said, raising one eyebrow. Husband? You? She was resisting the urge to pinch his arm. He was on a fucking date with her. Yet already looking at other girls. Young girls, to be exact. Wasn't she young enough for his perverted taste? That girl, the third from the left. Her name is Melody. She was my wife in the other timeline. Victor, feeling Elise's agitation, said softly, squeezing her fist while telling the truth with a sigh. What? Elise exclaimed as she turned to look at the girl who was clearly younger than her. True, she was pretty and lively, but not that special. Was she the one who got killed by that light lord? Victor said with a complex look, deciding not to tell lies about Roy being that light lord for now. I discovered her a few weeks ago when Lynn helped her and her sisters escape Morris. Oh, was it them? Elise frowned, remembering the report Lynn submitted before leaving with Axel. Yeah, fate is a really strange thing, he sighed, lost in thought as he inspected Melody. She didn't have any bloodline, and her status was completely normal. On top of that, he didn't have any fate thread connecting him to her, let alone a golden thread. This debunked a theory that his previous timeline had anything to do with those. Do you still have feelings for her? Elise asked in a soft voice. How can't I? He smiled as he looked at Elise. Don't you know your husband? Elise rolled her eyes. True, Victor was the kind who wouldn't let a girl escape his clutches. Jealous. Kinda? Elise said, finally realizing what that strange feeling in her heart was. Let's go help them up. They seem to be in trouble, she said after some thinking. Wait, are you sure about that? Victor, who was a little taken aback, asked. Meeting Melody here was not something he expected, but considering Elise's feelings, he planned to ignore her for now, as he already had a plan to go see her later. He never expected Elise to help him out directly. She is going to join us sooner or later, Elise sighed. The more people there are, the merrier it is, and you are not going to do anything to her anytime soon, unless you want to be arrested, that is. Good point, Victor chuckled. It seemed like Margaret's influence on her was not a bad thing after all. He quickly grabbed Elise's hand and walked toward Roy and his sisters. Suddenly, he paused. Anything wrong? Elise asked. No, Victor said as he flicked something off his jacket before continuing his path. Just a little feather, he said as he confirmed something on his status screen. Error. Fate tracing feather could not be attached. Insufficient authority. Chapter 506. Call me just Victor. My name is Tulip von Krohn, daughter of Aaron von Krohn from the main branch. Tulip introduced herself directly, ignoring the chaos upstairs where her mother was drilling Julian, who had gone there after hearing about his marriage. Please put your hand on the Supreme Elder paused and looked up. You even slept with her the day you met her? It was an accident. How can someone accidentally sleep with someone else? She must have drugged you. Look, she is not that kind of a girl. I am sure you will like. Idiot. Look how far she charmed you. I am going to. Lady Catalia, if you keep interrupting us, I will have to ask you to leave this hall. The Supreme Elder cleared his throat and said. Sorry? Catlea, who was clutching Julian from his collar, let go after giving her son a glare that they would continue later. The Supreme Elder sighed, remembering when Aaron asked this same council to let him marry Catalia back then. He shouldn't have agreed. Nothing was wrong with Catalia herself, but Aaron was simply too wimpy to reign in such a woman. Tulip, you may place your hand on the appraisal table. Tulip nodded and put her hand on the obsidian table. Tulip von Krohn. Authority, 16. Class, Void Rider. Bloodline, Crowned Crow, S, Awakened. Sea Dragon, S, Awakened. Fate Strength, SSS. Scion Indicator, Positive. HSSSSSSSSSSS. The elders gasped again, this time not because of her class but because of her being a scion. Among the heirs, being a scion was 1 in 10 chance, and an SSS scion was even rarer. In fact, all of them had one thought. If this girl were to have gone through the ritual, she might have gained the legendary X-ranked fate. Thinking about it, they couldn't help but look toward Lily, wondering if their experiment with her had succeeded. The fight about sending her away years ago was still fresh in their minds. Tulip, as you have been raised in the Sunken Empire, I need to ask you this. Did you read and understand the family rules? The Supreme Elder asked. I did. Tulip nodded. I swear to respect those rules. Good. Is there anything you might need to tell us that was not mentioned in the report that was presented by your esteemed mother? The Supreme Elder asked. Catilia gave them a quick report about Tulip's growth before the questioning session. This was highly unusual as the heirs were supposed to present their own reports to be questioned about them. Tulip hesitated for a moment before taking out an empty card and putting it on the table. The Supreme Elder frowned as he flicked his finger, making the card float to his hand. A moment later, his face changed as if realizing something. "I understand," the Supreme Elder said. "Your questioning is over." "Supreme Elder, One of the elders wanted to say something. "It is over. I use my right as the Supreme Elder to declare that," the Supreme Elder said, making everyone frown, including Eric, who looked at Tulip then at Catalia as if he understood something. Still, he kept his silence, just grinding his teeth. After confirming how his son will died, it was far better to not overplay his cards today. "Thank you," Tulip said. She was not expecting to become an elite heir, but thanks to her other background, it didn't matter. She was just doing this to help her father and Perez stabilize their position in the family. In fact, her questioning here was just a formality. "Due to your delicate background, I will also decide on your position in the family later," the Supreme Elder sighed. "Now, welcome to the family. Per tradition, do you have any requests?" "I want the Von Krone family to help me find someone," Tulip replied directly, making her mother upstairs sigh. "I heard you have an artifact that can easily find people through fate," Tulip continued with clear murderous intent in her voice. The Supreme Elder nodded. "Can I know who you want to find first? Some people are off limits. It is not anyone important, just an arrogant piece of shit called Vic Volt." The elders looked at each other as one of them quickly looked up the name on his phone before sending it in a private message to the others. There was little information about such a guy in their database, just that he appeared in the Moon Dungeon and was a C-ranked person of interest. Watching them, Lily was having a hard time trying to hide her expression. She was silently cursing at her stupid husband while wondering what he did to Tulip to make her keep him in her mind. According to him, he only hit on her a little back then. But from the way Tulip was reacting, it was clear that his little was not little at all. Damn it, pervert Victor. Hopefully, nothing bad would happen. She could only secretly cross her fingers, deciding to warn Victor to hide for a while as soon as she could contact him. "Are you sure that this will be your request?" the Supreme Elder asked Tulip. It was true that using the family's sacred artifact was not easy even for direct heirs, but wasting the chance to search for someone was a little overboard. "There is nothing else that I might need," she told the truth. She was one of the princesses of the Sunken Empire, and the things that she might need from the Von Krone were not things those old foggies were prepared to give her. Especially with her situation growing up outside the family. They would never truly trust her. "Then let's vote," the Supreme Elder sighed. All the elders raised their hands. They didn't mind Tulip wasting her request on this matter, as they also wanted to know about this Vic guy. "I should also get the Patriarch's approval." The Supreme Elder looked up. Eric nodded. "Bring the golden urn," the Supreme Elder commanded. The usage of the sacred artifact required 5 of the elders to be present, and since they were all already here, he decided to finish with this farce. After that, everyone went silent, each thinking about many things. 21 minutes later, a large golden urn full of colorful feathers was brought to the hall, carried on a small decorated cart and escorted by 6 masked guards who set it in place, then bowed and quickly left. "Touch the sacred urn while thinking about your meeting with that guy. Find the clearest image of him you have and focus on it. If your fate with him is strong enough, one of the feathers will grab onto that fate thread and help you find him," the Supreme Elder said. "You have to keep your focus until the result is found." Tulip nodded, then placed her hand on the urn and closed her eyes to picture that bastard. This text was taken from Royal Road. Help the author by reading the original version there. The urn immediately shone with a blue light, as many threads appeared around Tulip, connecting her to everything in the room and outside of it. It was as if she were a fur ball. Lily quickly realized that those were Tulip's fate lines as they matched what Victor told her when he explained his skill. Slowly, the light on the urn began to shine brighter. As if searching for something, the myriad of threads around Tulip slowly began to fade and disappear one by one. In the matter of moments, they were all gone, leaving just one connecting to Tulip's. But, fuck! Lily almost cursed out loud as she realized what her husband did to Tulip, making her go after him. It took all of her willpower not to start yelling curses out loud. She was not the only one who realized a few things, though. The Supreme Elder, who was one of the few who understood how the urn worked, also had a strange expression. Catalia and Eric seemed to have figured out some things too. "Young people?" The Supreme Elder could only sigh and shake his head. With one thread remaining, the urn spat out one feather that flew out, then sped up, hitting Tulip's butt. "Ah!" Tulip immediately lost her focus as she felt a burning sensation. "What?" Before she could talk, the feather came out of her chest, hovered a few feet in the air before splitting into two halves. One followed the line out of the room as if it was an arrow, while the other froze in midair and began to turn like a compass pointing to the other's direction. You just have to follow the Supreme Elder began to explain, but he paused. Bam! The feather in the air suddenly shook, then caught fire and burned with white flames in front of everyone. Pam! A moment later, a crack formed on the urn's body. What the? HSSSSSSSSSSS. Ah? This? The elders looked at each other, then at the Supreme Elder whose face turned serious. One by one they realized what this meant, especially the patriarch who had difficulty hiding the dangerous glare in his eyes, yet he quickly calmed down as if he had gotten some idea. That guy of yours is not someone we can interfere with. Why don't you ask your master to find him for you? The Supreme Elder asked Tulip after a brief pause. She also couldn't find him, Tulip said, feeling a little shocked, not only because of Vic, but because of her mother, whose glare she could feel descending on her from above. I see. Don't worry about the urn, we can fix it, the Supreme Elder said, his heart bleeding about the cost of fixing this artifact. You may step down. Sorry for disturbing you, she bowed, then slowly stepped back with a million thoughts in her mind. Only Lily sighed in relief, watching what happened. Thankfully, Victor managed to dodge that bullet. She was not sure about how he did it, though. She couldn't help but want to end the ceremony and get her necklace back from Yulian to finally get some time to have a one-to-one talk with his soul. She didn't dare use the husband-wife connection in Nest Castle, as she knew more than anyone about what kind of security they have here. Brother, what's wrong with you? Melody asked as she watched her brother, Roy, sigh for the 14th time today. They were supposed to have fun going to the theme park and such. But for some reason, he seemed a little absent-minded ever since returning home late last night. Nothing, just thinking about the assignment my father gave me. Roy lied. He was remembering last night when that woman broke into the brothel and, out of nowhere, began slapping his esteemed father, whom he always thought of as some kind of living god. To his surprise, Theodore didn't fight back at all, but simply began simping to that woman and apologizing, making all kinds of lies on the fly. Damn it, he even blamed his own sons for dragging him to that brothel without telling him. That woman, thankfully, was not an idiot. She simply slapped him hard before leaving that room. At that moment, he thought his father would do something manly, but to his surprise, he just ordered his sons to wrap the party up before following that woman like a licking dog. Thinking about how his father wanted him to help reconcile with his mother, he felt a little annoyed and disgusted. Was that really his father? You should stop overthinking things, his other sister advised as if she knew any better. Just go with the flow. Like hell I can do that. Roy wanted to make another excuse, but he was interrupted. Ouch! Can't you watch your steps? Someone yelled as he pushed one of the little girls to the ground. It was a fat woman. His sister seemed to have accidentally bumped into her, spilling some ice cream on her dress. Husband! She yelled, making a fat man who was a few steps away hurry to her side. Fuck! Do you know how much that dress cost us? He immediately flared at the little girls who were about to go into tears. Stop shouting. It was an accident. Roy immediately stepped in, putting his sisters behind him as the other helped her to her feet. You are the one who should apologize for yelling at my sister. Do you know who I am? Should I? Roy sneered. No wonder. Poor bastards like them really have no way to know you. Hubby? The slutty man's girlfriend said as she wiped the ice cream off her dress using a handkerchief. You have to make him pay up for ruining my dress. He will need to sell his house, so it is better to call the cops. The woman who seemed to just be using Roy as an excuse to vent out some frustration yelled like a bitch. Right? The fat man sneered as he turned to look at the little girls. I think I can give him a chance to offer some other kind of compensation, he said, licking his lips. But hubby, the young woman frowned. Relax. I will make it up to you, the fat man said, reaching his hand toward one of Roy's sisters. You bastard. Roy, who realized something, immediately became super hostile. Let me teach you something, boy. If I say I am giving you a chance, that means that you have no choice. My father is He stopped talking as he fell to the ground, clutching his balls. He wanted to say something, but the newcomer, a purple-haired young man who wore a mask, started ruthlessly kicking him, ignoring the woman who began to scream and the crowd that began to gather. Bam. H. Bam. Not there. Bam. K-I-A. Bastard. Take them away. Give him the lily treatment. The young man gestured, making a few burly men immediately hurry, gag, then drag away the fat man and his girlfriend as if this was something they had done thousands of times. Did you like the show? Do you want me to kick your balls too? The young man yelled at the crowd, making them disperse almost immediately, including a few security guards who just had to see the badge in the young man's hand to silently disappear. He sighed, then looked at Roy, who took a defensive position with his sisters poking their heads to watch from behind him. "Sorry to scare you. Bro, what's up? It's me," he said as he took off his mask to reveal his handsome face. Roy, who was a little on edge due to his sister's kidnapping the other day, immediately recognized the handsome young man as the half-brother he had met the other day in the mansion. OMG. Victor White! His second sister, who forgot all about the violence she had just watched, exclaimed loudly before Roy could say anything. Victor was super famous as the rich young master who managed to sweep the idol Mira off her feet. His harem wedding was also the major discussion point on TV for the last few months, with many people against him, describing his behavior as unacceptable despite the law allowing it. She and her sisters totally disagreed as they fantasized about such a young master marrying them all together. And lately, after realizing that Victor was their brother's half-brother, they had been pressuring him to introduce them, but Roy kept procrastinating. "Hi there," Victor waved to them. "Brother, I didn't expect to see you here. Are those pretty little ladies your lovers?" he asked, flashing a smile at the little girls while raising his charm a few notches, especially toward Harmony, who almost could no longer breathe as she was completely charmed. Thankfully, she was standing in the back, so no one except Elise could see her overreaction. Victor felt a little guilty doing this frontal attack on a little girl, but he had to make sure that Melody would never fall for another guy ever, and if one day she chose someone else, he would totally understand that and kill the other guy. For him, she was that important, so by charming her, he was technically saving the lives of many people. Yeah, he was the good guy here. "Esteemed brother Victor, those are my half-sisters?" Roy said with some annoyance, keeping as polite as possible as he watched Victor inspect his sisters. "I just wanted to take them on a vacation before I get assigned by the family. I didn't expect to meet an acquaintance here," he said. In fact, he took them here to make them forget about the kidnapping, but he decided not to say that. "Oh, sorry to bother you then. It is just that today is my wife's birthday, so we came here to party," Victor said, pointing at Elise, whom Roy only noticed now. "Wife?" It took Roy a moment to connect things, looking between the short Elise and Victor. "This low? She is your wife?" "Yeah, Elise, this is my brother Roy." "Roy, this is Elise von Geldstadt, my wife," Victor said proudly, making her smile a little. "How old are you?" Roy asked automatically, looking at Elise. "Brother, this is rude. You can't ask a girl about her age." One of Roy's sisters finally intervened before turning to Victor. "Hello? Young Master Victor, Lady Elise. My name is Harmony. Those are Melody, Cadence, Joy, and Lyrica." Harmony, who was the eldest, quickly introduced herself and her sisters as she eyed Elise with some jealousy. Was this girl at the wedding too? Sadly, very few photos got leaked out of that event. "Ah, hi. You have some pretty musical names. Nice to meet you," Victor said with an even brighter smile. "No need to be so tense around me. If you are Roy's half-sisters, you can be considered my little sisters too," he said. "Right? Ah, young master." The girls blushed a bit. "Call me just Victor." He smiled, carefully inspecting Roy and making sure he was really the young light lord in his memories. "If you girls are not busy, why don't we go find somewhere to sit and chat a bit? It is a little inconvenient standing here in the middle of the road." He paused, shooting a glare at some random guy who took out his phone to film. A moment later, a chick came to drag him away. "We should get to know each other since we are related." "Ah." The girls looked nervously at each other. "How about some ice cream? There is a famous store here that sells exclusive flavors," Victor asked as he put his mask back on. "Sure." The little girls immediately got excited. Their stinky brother didn't allow them to have a lot of ice cream, saying that it would ruin their stomach or something, and they really wanted to try that store, but sadly, the line in front of it was just too long. Roy, who was still in shock, only realized that his sisters were dragged away too late. He could only follow after them while shooting Victor some very dangerous glares. Damn it. Last night he just finished warning his sisters about not following dangerous men. Why did no one ever listen to him? Chapter 507, Entrapment. "Wah! It's huge," Melody exclaimed with excitement, looking at the huge ice cream parfait in front of her. "Come on, try it," Victor, who sat on the other side of the table, said with a not-so-innocent smile, remembering when Melody said that same line about something else in the other timeline. Thankfully, no one could read his mind, or he would have been directly arrested. "Careful. If you get a stomachache later, don't complain to me." Roy, who sat beside Victor and only ordered some black coffee, warned his sisters who were going to start digging in. "Especially you, Melody, you just left the hospital," he said while keeping his vigilance. The way Victor had been looking at his sisters was very sus. Ah! Hearing him, Melody stopped her spoon as she looked worriedly at the prairie cup. Not sure what to do. It's okay, the stuff here is of the highest quality. They should be okay. Victor, who had already secretly dissolved a healing pill in the little girl's cup, said as he scooped some ice cream and then carefully put it in Elise's mouth. Yeah, they were sharing one cup. As her husband, he couldn't possibly neglect her. Elise smiled sweetly as she let the ice cream melt in her mouth. Victor, would it really be okay? Harmony, who helped their youngest sister Joy eat, suddenly asked. What? Victor asked as he tested some of the ice cream. Not bad at all. Cutting in line like that? Harmony asked nervously. Some of the customers just now shot her some really envious looks. They had been waiting for hours, but Victor just cut straight in. Didn't your brother tell you? My father owns this entire place. He could have just used his family badge to bring you straight in. You don't even have to stand in line for any of the attractions. Victor explained, gesturing for his chicks to take care of the annoying people before opening his mouth for Elise to feed him some ice cream with lime pieces that she clearly didn't like. The 5 little girls all exclaimed at the same time, glaring at their hateful brother. They have already wasted no less than an hour standing in various lines around the park thanks to his incompetence. What? Roy asked in shock. Esteemed father owns this place? He really had no idea. Victor sighed. It seemed like Roy still couldn't comprehend how rich their family was. Most of the things with the white prefix around Vane City are family businesses. Victor explained. To tell the truth, he didn't blame Roy in his previous life. He also didn't know any better until he worked in those businesses. But at that time, he didn't really have a family badge, so that didn't count. Wah! Even the white bakery and the white supermarkets. Yeah, even the white gaming arcades and brothels. I am not sure about everything, but you can ask George, he is the one who manages everything, Victor explained as he scooped some chocolate chips for Elise. What? Roy swallowed. His mother had to work in a white brothel when his sister got sick. Not anymore though. Thankfully. Our esteemed father has the tendency to buy the entire business where a girl who grabs his attention works. It's one of his ways to get them to his bed, Victor explained. He worked for his father, arranging a few of those purchases in his past life. Is it really okay to badmouth our father like this? Roy swallowed nervously. I am telling the truth. And even if he heard me, he would only punish you. I am an elite heir, Victor explained. Roy almost rolled his eyes as his sisters looked between him and Victor with a frown. Do you girls go to school? Elise, feeling the awkward atmosphere, suddenly asked the little girls. Yeah, since we moved to Vane City, Roy had already enrolled us in the White Pressa. Something Institute, Harmony answered. As the eldest sister, she was usually the one who took care of the others, especially when her stupid brother and her mother were out working. It's prestigious, Roy corrected her. George was the one who arranged their enrollment there, so he didn't know much of the details. Ah, whatever. The teachers there are really nice to us and… Harmony paused. That school, does it also belong to your father? She asked, looking at Roy, then at Victor. Yeah, Victor nodded. Still, it is not the best in town. Why didn't you enroll them in the Aero Institute for Young Ladies? It is a boarding school, and the girls didn't want to leave their mother's side, especially with Melody fresh out of the hospital. Roy replied. Is it that much better? He asked. A little. Lara studies there, Victor replied. Lara? Harmony asked quickly. That name sounded familiar. My little sister. You know her, from Lara and the Magical Girls. Victor replied with a smile as he successfully steered the conversation to the subject he wanted. The 5 little girls all gasped, forgetting the ice cream that began to melt on their spoons. You like Lara? Victor asked about the obvious. She is your sister? The girls gasped. Not only was his wife Mira, but his sister was Lara? Yeah, didn't Roy tell you? The 5 girls all turned to look at Roy. He frowned. What is Lara and the Magical Girls? Roy couldn't help but turn to Victor and ask. Although he had a vague idea that he got from the words themselves. He really was not sure what they were about. In fact, he couldn't be blamed. In the past few months, he was really busy. First working his ass off to get the money for his sister's hospital bill, then preparing for the awakening as a player. He had no time to care about anything else. Lara and her friends have a band that does some singing in my company. The girl needed a hobby, and no one expected it to be a big success, Victor said. Look, Harmony said, flipping her old puppy phone 2 open and opening a gold tube movie for her stupid brother to watch. Bad, bad pussy. Punish the pussy. Bad, bad, bad. Pussy ah. His face went dark almost immediately upon hearing the song. That was until he saw the little girls dancing on stage with cat costumes. His eyes naturally focused on the little girl in the center, moving lively. It was the same little girl who kicked his ass on stage a few weeks ago. Lara. And the girls around here, weren't they her maids? Interesting. Ah, I see. Roy swallowed. It seemed like Lara's gang was not only adept at fighting crime, but they were also a singing band. Some real magical girls. That song. It's catchy, isn't it? Victor nodded. My wife Lynn wrote it. It's about a childhood friend who was a bad girl, he said with a smile. Oh, Roy nodded. He didn't get the song at all. Can we meet them? Harmony asked after her sisters kicked her leg under the table, pushing her to do it. Well? Victor thought for a moment, then took his phone and sent a message to his father asking him when Lara would be leaving and whether it would be okay for her to come to his mansion to meet him one last time before that. Let's see. Theodore responded after a few seconds. No, it was definitely George who did it, as the polite response told him that Lara would leave in 3 days, and that it would be fine. It is possible. Can you come to my mansion tomorrow? Victor asked. I will tell Mira and Monica to be there too. Yes. The 5 girls replied all at once with excitement. Wait. Roy wanted to say something, but he was interrupted. Let Roy drive you there. Do you know the address? Victor turned to ask his brother. No. Roy replied helplessly. Ask Iris about it and tell her to come too, Victor said. It's been a while since he saw that sister of his. Roy could only nod, seeing how enthusiastic his sisters were. Fine, he said. If Iris were there, things would be okay. Now, Victor thought for a moment. Let's finish our ice cream and go playing. I plan to go to the roller coaster with Elise. Do you care to join us? He asked the little girls. We are too short for that. One of the little girls replied, pouting a bit as she sucked on her spoon. I told you, my father owns this place. I will make them adjust the ride for you. Victor replied with a dashing smile, winking at the little girls. Hearing him, Roy's face fell again. His guts were telling him that Victor was definitely aiming at one of his sisters. Sadly for him, those brats no longer listened to him. Lily von Krohn, daughter of Aaron von Krohn of the main branch. Lily introduced herself coldly as she stood in front of the obsidian table. Place your hand on the appraisal table, the Supreme Elder said as everyone in the hall peered in to look at her result, including the Patriarch Eric, whose intentions were hard to read. Lily von Krohn. Authority, 99. Class. Shadow Dancer, A. Subclass. Time Avatar, X. Bloodline. Timeless Crow, X. Awakened. Fate Strength, X. Scion Indicator, Positive. The entire hall hissed for the same time. What the? Holy shit. Impossible. How? As expected. The entire hall was in absolute shock, including those who were crossing their fingers for the family experiment to succeed and for Lily to get an X-rank fate. She didn't only get 1 X but 3. Like some R-rated movie title. First were the elders. Seeing the result, they couldn't help but look up at each other. Then up toward Aaron, expecting him to rage. Having 3 siblings with such amazing attributes was something that had never happened in the family history, especially with Lily. They all knew what this meant. Eric might no longer be able to pass the patriarch chair to one of his children, especially after Will's mysterious death. In fact, at the moment, many of the elders began to harbor some thoughts of switching alliances and forcing him to abdicate. To their surprise, other than shooting some wary glare toward Lily, he did nothing. As expected of an old snake, even defeated, he would not reveal his fangs. After also inspecting his older brother, Aaron, could not help but look toward his wife smugly as if telling her, look, making Lily go through all that was worth it. Katlia just shot him a glare before sighing. She had to confess, an X-ranked fate was really worth it. In a way, Lily would no longer have to fear anything, especially with her Scion designation. From now on, her life would be a smooth sail. Tulip and Julian both held their silence. The former was wondering about whether her sister would be able to help her fight demons, and the latter was nervous about what kind of monster his family had created. Who the hell would be able to stop this crazy girl now? Not bad. The Supreme Elder, whose smile involuntarily reached his ears, said after clearing his throat, acting like this was all normal. Lily. He called her name with affection. Due to your circumstances, your questioning will be a little tougher than the others. I hope you don't mind. He has decided to not offend her. This girl might as well end up the next patriarch. No, martyrarch. This one understands. Lily said stoically, hiding her excitement. She couldn't confirm it earlier, but her fate really turned into an X, something that didn't even happen in her first timeline, where she was one of the most powerful chosen in the entire world. She could tell that it was all part of her master's plan. Sadly, since she died before the final stage could be completed in that timeline, she was not sure of the fine details. Good. Let's begin. Can you first explain your classes? Both of them, the Supreme Elder inquired. Definitely, the Shadow Dancer is an assassination-based class, allowing me to use my charm to kill my enemies. I got it during the Von Weiss awakening ceremony. Lily paused as she pressed her hand a little stronger on the table. As for my second class, I got it when I fell into that pond with Yulian in that cave. It allows me to slow down time or speed it up during a battle. She lied directly as she secretly used her skill, freezing the time of the table. There is also a freeze time function, but it is too costly in terms of order points, so I didn't try it yet, she added as she let go of her skill. Royal Road is the home of this novel. Visit there to read the original and support the author. The table flashed white, indicating that she was telling the truth. Yeah, fooling these things was as simple as that. As long as her last sentence was true, she only needed to pause and then let the table continue on demand. Only those? One elder asked. For that class, yes. One can't expect it to have more than 4 skills. Lily paused. I also have a lot of unrelated system skills, but I prefer to keep those a secret. The obsidian table flashed white again. The Supreme Elder nodded. One can't expect an heir to reveal all their cards. He was just asking because an X-ranked class was something he only read about in old books. Let's move to reviewing your report. Why did you kidnap Yulian? The Supreme Elder looked at a long list in front of him and asked, deciding to start with Yulian's trouble to clear up some points that were briefly mentioned in Lily's report. As I reported, it was that bastard Victor's orders. He wanted to brainwash Yulian in order to use him to control his sister Alice, she said. I was ordered to take him somewhere far away and torture him until he breaks up, then use a brainwashing talisman on him. She paused. So I took him to that cave as it was a well-hidden place. Oh, did you know that pond in the cave beforehand? No, I had no idea, but... Lily paused. The weather in that place was really hot, and that cave looked appealing at the moment. She told the truth in that sentence. The obsidian table flashed white. I see. The elders looked at each other. They all had the same thought. So it was fate after all. X-ranked fate was really amazing. Even while sealed, IT granted her a lot of luck. Let's continue. After that, did you do anything to your cousin Will after you met him? I don't remember meeting him. Lily paused. That dungeon had a lot of people and I don't know everyone who was there. The obsidian table flashed white. Let's move to another subject. What does the Von Weiss family mean to you at the moment? Another elder asked. Lily frowned. She was about to make a choice. Strengthening her resolve, she decided to diverge from Victor's plan. This was for his own good. If you asked me before, I would have replied that they were my masters whom I was born to serve. Now, they are the bastards I wish to destroy for abusing me and turning me into a ruthless killing machine. She spat angrily, making her parents upstairs shed some tears for her. Oh, what about Victor Von Weiss? Another elder asked. Ha! That pervert. Lily sighed as the table flashed white. To tell the truth, before I was crazily in love with him, and even tried many times to make him join me in bed more than once. But thankfully he never agreed. She lied. On the contrary, he even punished me for even trying to seduce him. This one was true when Victor stopped her before he awakened his bloodline. The original plan with Victor was to tell them that she was Victor's wife in order to make sure that the family would not have high expectations of her. Knowing her uncle, he would have probably forced her to go back to Victor under the pretense of tying the families together, while getting rid of her at the same time. Still, after she got her memories from the old timeline, she realized that this was completely wrong and would make her waste a great opportunity that Victor had no idea about. Her position in the family was not something she should sacrifice, not before she could find out what happened to her master. So for now, she chose to keep her relationship with Victor a secret. Although she couldn't wait to meet him again, some things needed to be arranged first. Oh, so, he never really touched you? Another elder asked with a frown, looking at the patriarch who was planning to use Lily's past against her. He found it absurd how a man could resist this girl. Even he, her third great uncle, was having difficulty cornering himself facing her. In fact, after this meeting was over, he might not be able to leave the table for 15 minutes or so, or it would be the embarrassment of his life. The others also felt the same. Yeah, she lied. He only made moves on me in front of others to agitate them. That perverted bastard only had eyes for little girls and can't get it hard for anyone else. She lied. Little girls? Wasn't he into grannies? Another elder asked as he flipped through a folder about Victor. That is just a misunderstanding that he never cared to correct. Lily told the truth again with anger on her face. What a piece of shit, one elder said. The others nodded. Catlay couldn't help but shed another tear for her daughter's fate, having to live with such a depraved monster. Tulip squeezed her fist, deciding to help her sister take revenge in the future. Only Julian, who watched from above, had a weird expression on his face. How the fuck was his sister lying with a straight face? He had no idea, but she looked super cool manipulating those foggies as if they were primary school kids. But he felt strange. Wasn't the plan to tell her to confess that Victor married her and made him a witness? Wasn't the plan to force them to have a talk with the von Weiss family? Was his sister affected by the cleansing? Or did something else happen? Since this point has become clear, let's move to something else, the Supreme Elder said. Does anyone have any questions? He asked as he watched the elders flip through her report. It was so thick that they didn't have much time going through it all before the meeting. Lily, I have a question for you, an elder suddenly asked. According to what you wrote, you got your bloodline enhanced in the cave with Julian. Yes. Lily frowned a bit as she nodded. That cave was very magical, she added. Then why didn't you end up with the same upgrade as him? The elder asked. Watching him pause, she realized that he must have been getting this question from someone else, probably her uncle. I don't know, she hesitated, her intuition telling her that there was something wrong with the elder's tone, but she couldn't tell what. The cave clearly didn't have the power to push your bloodline like that, only if you had a prior enhancement. The elder paused as he watched Lily finally begin to lose her cool. Elder Gaiman, please get to the point. The Supreme Elder looked up toward the Patriarch, then turned to the elder and said, Fine, Lily von Krohn, why didn't you mention anything about Davidothak incident in your report? He asked, pronouncing the name Davidothak with difficulty. He clearly read it from somewhere. Lily frowned. What is a Davidothak? She asked as she managed to hide her chalk. Or she thought she did. It's a rooster that upgrades bloodlines. The one who answered was Eric, her uncle, who kept his silence until the moment. Your bloodline was enhanced due to the one Victor von Weiss, summoned to his mansion a few months ago. That never happened. Lily looked up and refuted as she secretly began to draw a ruin on her thigh using her hidden left hand. There are no such monsters in that mansion. That's not according to the info we have. Eric, as if finding something, said, I found it strange that you never mentioned it in your report. Who would have expected that you were playing us for fools? He said with a very dangerous smirk. I don't know how you are fooling the obsidian table, but you were clearly lying. Impossible. I don't remember. Lily paused as her face turned ashen. Where did you get that info? Curious. Eric smirked. Then let me enlighten you. Every summoning that happens in this world has its info and location registered in a world record whose authority is in the hands of the von Krohn Patriarch. I wonder what else you have been hiding from us. Eric yelled. HSSS. Lily almost gasped out loud. She had no idea. No, wait. Back then, when the incident with the von Rosen collapse happened, Victor knew about it through a report in the library. That report that the dungeon was not natural couldn't have been compiled without such knowledge that the monster that caused the SSS-ranked dungeon was summoned. How did the family know that? No one was left alive at that place after all. Now she knew the truth. Damn it. Relax, everyone. She might not have been informed about the rooster. Her bloodline might have been from the cave. It doesn't prove anything, the Supreme Elder said with a frown. No. When she was captured, I did a little analysis on a sample of her blood, and it contained an otherworldly element. By measuring its half-time dissipation, we can make sure it originated from the time of that summoning. Eric, who came prepared, said. To tell the truth, he was waiting for Lily to make a mistake. How couldn't he? He was an old fox who knew not to trust anything. It all started that day. Knowing that his agent failed to sabotage Lily's cleansing despite doing everything perfectly, he was 90% sure that she might not have even been cleansed to begin with and was playing them. He confirmed his guess when he saw her X-ranked destiny and fate. X-ranked skills were always unpredictable, so he was even rightfully suspecting that he might be cheating the table. Still, he had no proof, and every move of his would be seen by the council as trying to get rid of his competitors. The family would never allow internal fighting, so he had to play his cards well, and Lily really did fall into a trap. And that she did. The hall was immediately in turmoil at hearing him. But the Supreme Elder couldn't find a good excuse as he frowned, looking at Lily. She might be innocent, but the Patriarch was right, she seemed suspicious. Even if she wasn't lying on purpose, some kind of restriction might have been cast on her, and the family would not tolerate any hidden danger. Guards. Take her to the interrogation dungeon. Eric, who began to scream as Lily activated her ruin, and the world wrapped around her. Stop her. She is activating some kind of skill. Impossible. Didn't you activate the edict shard? No. It's an X-ranked skill. Stop. You can't. The world froze. Bam. In a flash, Lily returned to the past. 5 minutes ago, to be exact. The guards were no longer running toward her, and her father was no longer holding her mother, stopping her from attacking Eric. The Supreme Elder no longer screams. The hall returned to its precious silence. Lily, who got immediately hit by a wave of fatigue, almost fell to her knees. To make up for that return, she would have to sleep for 50 hours straight ASAP. She would not be able to use any of her time skills until then. From this moment on, she no longer had the power to cheat the table. Why aren't you answering? Was your bloodline truly awakened in that cave? The elder noticed Lily's hesitation to answer and asked again. Maybe she needs a rest? One of the elders said, noticing Lily's pale face. Sometimes, the testing method of the table did that to people as it drew their energy. She can do that after answering my question. The elder insisted. I didn't want to include this in the report because I was worried that it might fall in the wrong hands, but I am not sure how much the cave had an effect on my bloodline, she said, choosing her words carefully. If the council allows it, I will speak, but this info is very sensitive in my opinion, she said. Everyone frowned, including Eric, who was annoyed that she didn't fall for it. You may speak. Everyone here has already been sworn to secrecy. The Supreme Elders frowned a bit, then said. It was a cock. Its name is Davidothak. Eh? People name their cocks now? Someone whispered. You mean a Davidothak celestial rooster? The Supreme Elder, who seemed to have realized something and knew better than the others, asked, clearing things up as he gestured to one of his assistants. He had read about this creature before in an old book, but he didn't know many of the details. Yes, that pervert Victor just called it his cock. So the name stuck in my head. Lily spat, telling the truth. Everyone looked at each other as an assistant ran to the Supreme Elder's side with a thick old book that he quickly flipped open to a certain page. Nodding to himself, he pushed it to the others to take a look. Explain about it, the Supreme Elders said after a few minutes. As you can probably see, it is a rooster that can enhance people's bloodline. Victor didn't say where he got the way to summon it, but only revealed it to me and Lynn after the wedding, presenting us with the materials. Lynn? You mean Lynn von Rosen? Yes. Lily nodded. Her class is an ace summoner, and without her, the summoning would have been almost impossible. It almost failed if Victor didn't order me to stand behind Lynn and used my beauty to seduce that stupid rooster. Oh, did he use it to enhance his bloodline? It doesn't upgrade men's blood, and can only be used on a bloodline once. The moment Victor approached it, it became all hostile. It enhanced the bloodlines of all the girls who had it, though including my bloodline. Victor gave the von Weiss bloodline opportunity to his cousin Zoe. That pervert is definitely planning to add her to his someday. The elders looked at each other. Did they smell jealousy? No, impossible. It must have been Lily hating that bastard's guts. Then why didn't you tell us about this in your report? The elder who worked for Eric asked. Their trap failed. I told you I believed this secret must be told directly to the council. Me knowing the way to summon that thing is not something I want to associate my name with on a report, she replied. The elders all nodded. This sounded very logical. Does the von Weiss family know about the Davitoy hack? The Supreme Elder asked. No, Victor never told them. He had just one feather that could be used to summon it, and he seemed to only want to upgrade his harem. Victor said. A feather? Yes, a firebird feather. It is the main element to summon that thing. Victor got it from an auction. In fact, he seemed to have been searching for that exact thing. I heard it is very rare. Lily told the truth. That feather was super rare. In the other timeline, people searched the entire world for another one but found only another 2 after 30 full years. Oh, tell us the method then. Make sure it is complete. One of the elders said quickly as his eyes sparkled. Although this cock can only enhance one of every bloodline, his master, the patriarch, had a use for it. Lily sighed. First, you need an altar with female belongings no men can be in the hall, scattering the blood of a virgin chicken in the shape of a pentagram and... Slowly she began to tell them exactly how the cock was summoned. She just had to keep wary not to expose some things. Interesting, the Supreme Elder said, hearing her. That Victor guy might be a complete scum, but he had some foresight. Let me ask you this then, the elder who kept nagging her said. Does Victor have another way to summon that cock? Lily sighed inwardly. She couldn't lie, but this would not hurt and would only give Victor a headache. That cock seemed to have made some deal with Victor after the latter provided him with a lot of girls. He gave him one of his feathers. I am not 100%, but it may be used to summon it, she said, deciding to take advantage of this situation to the best she could. I don't know if it would summon that same cock or something else, though, and keeping in mind that it might be that same cock that Victor would have no use for, he might be willing to trade it off if you offer him the right treasure. Hearing her, the elders all looked at each other, each having different thoughts. Wow, that was amazing. Melody chuckled as Roy helped her step down from the roller coaster while shooting Victor some very dangerous glare. Earlier, while Roy was busy supervising his sisters, for some reason, he missed it when Melody climbed onto the roller coaster and sat on Victor's left side. Elise was sitting to his right. As the ride was about to go, he was forced to quickly sit behind them, and throughout the ride, which seemed to have taken forever, Victor kept telling jokes in his little sister's ear, making her giggle like crazy during the ride. She even grabbed his hand when the thing went full speed. Damn it. The way Victor was looking at Melody during the entire ride was super sus. As someone who worked as a bouncer in a nightclub once, Roy could tell. Are you okay? Roy asked. Did he tell you anything inappropriate? He whispered to his little sister as he put her to the ground. Brother. He was only telling him some jokes about the roller coaster. Melody found her brother was overreacting a bit. Is everything okay? Victor, who in turn helped Elise down, asked. No, nothing. It is already getting late. I think we should call it a day. Roy is feeling super annoyed. Brother. Your brother is right. It is already getting late, Victor said, looking at the sun that began to set. You girls need to sleep early to keep your beauty, and be early tomorrow morning to come to my mansion. Yeah. Right. We need to meet Lara. Roy sighed. Let's go, he said, turning to head to the entrance. Why don't I give you a ride? Victor asked as he watched them leave. No need. We already made arrangements, Roy replied without turning back. See you tomorrow, he said with a tired voice. Victor could only chuckle as he watched them leave. Sorry for getting them involved in your birthday. He turned to Elise and said as he rubbed her head. It's okay. Now let's go home. The girls should already be finished with my surprise birthday party preparations. Elise smiled sweetly, enjoying his touch. Nothing gets past you, does it? Victor said, giving one last glare toward Roy. Is something wrong with that guy and his sisters? Elise asked. She had noticed it other than pampering Melody. Victor kept inspecting that guy ever since they met them. Melody is perfectly normal, she doesn't even have a specific fate. But Roy, something is strange about him. It doesn't make sense. Don't worry about it. I will tell you all about it in a few days, he sighed. Now let's go, he added as he grabbed her hand and began heading to the entrance, his eyes focused on Roy's back. Name, Roy White Von Weiss. Level 0. Class, Light Avatar, SSS. Status, Authority 9. Strength, 43. Agility, 36. Intelligence, 34. Luck, 20. Charm, 25. Order points, 10. Skills, Light Curtain, SSS. Light Ray, SSS. Teleport, SSS. Reveal, SS. Healing Light, SS. Quick Steps, A. Deep Breath, A. Poison Resistance, C. Pain Resistance, C. Throwing, D. Cooking, E. Knitting, E. Cleaning, E. Public Speaking, E. Dishwashing, E. Car washing, E. Hammer Arts, F. Fate Strength, S. Scion. Defined Fate. Slay the Dawn Demon. Destiny List Bloodline. Elder Dragon. AAA, 0.4%. Equipment, none. Destiny List. A Slay the Dawn Demon. Become? Disciple a Mary? Daughter? Take care of my mother and sisters. Build a large house like fathers. Find a pretty sensible wife. Get rich. Get stronger. Protect my sisters. Get to know the world's secrets better. Get to know my father's family. Can they be trusted? Victor could easily tell that they was the Light Lord. The problem was that the Roy he met today was nothing like the cold monster he faced back then. What the hell happened to him? Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today.